Hi everybody. So I'd like to talk to you a wee bit today about how often a breastfed baby should feed. It is one of these questions that's a bit like how long is a piece of string, but we do have a sort of minimum figure that we do have in mind, certainly in the early weeks and days of breastfeeding, and that is 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. And that is a minimum though. Quite often breastfed babies do actually feed a lot more than that, and that is really normal. It's just really normal behaviour, and also incredibly good for your milk supply, which in the early weeks they're obviously trying their best to sort of bring on and bring your milk down and things like that. So 8 to 12 times is your minimum that you're looking for in the beginning. And you can't really overfeed your breastfed baby, but you could potentially underfeed it. So it's quite important to think of that frequency at least. And it doesn't have to be regimented, it doesn't have to be, every 2 hours on the dot. Breastfeeding doesn't work like that, trust me. It's not a routine and regimented thing. It's a very dynamic process. And so what we would encourage you to do is to look for your baby's cues, basically. If they move, they start to squirm, their lips are going, pop them on the boob, basically, and you can never go wrong with that. And what we want to see is really good active feeding, and then we know things are going well. Of course, lots of mums in the beginning worry that when babies are going to the breast, lots of times that means that there's something wrong with their milk supply, that they don't have enough milk and things. But this is really just a misunderstanding of what is normal. We're not really very great in our culture understanding, lactation and normal baby behaviour. And so, unfortunately, that frequent feeding can sometimes lead us as parents to worry about our milk supply. But the vast majority of the time, there really is nothing to worry about. It is just very normal behaviour, especially if they're actively feeding at the breast and you can feel that your breasts are being used, so to speak, which is fabulous. But what I would say is if you do have any worries, any concerns, then please do reach out to get some skilled support. You can message us here at Maddie's Miracle, or you can seek out your local breastfeeding group, your health professional, a lactation consultant, just to check things are ticking over nicely. And of course the National Breastfeeding Helpline is open every day of the week, and they are very happy to listen to any parent that wants to call them and talk about things to do with their infant feeding. So yeah, 8 to 12 times is your minimum, okay? Anything below that, you might be thinking, right, maybe I want to be a little bit more proactive. Maybe I want to do a bit of skin to skin with my baby to try and rouse them and try and get their instincts flowing so that they can, attach to the breast more frequently. But anything more than that, great, good job, well done. It is tiring in the early days and weeks. It doesn't always stay like that though, so just hang in there, and you'll definitely get there. Thanks very much. Bye.